Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 28th, 2025 Council meeting. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Shiano First Nation and the Sook First Nation, our neighbors. We wish them well with their negotiations and their making decisions for their community, and we acknowledge and respect them for they've had a long-standing relationship with the lands and the seas and the waters that continue to this day. Council, we have an agenda before us. We don't have any additions that I know of. With that, I'll take a motion to approve. Moved by Councillor Gray, second by Councillor Shukin. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Presentations. First off, we have a presentation. We have some online participants. I'd like to welcome Kevin Worley and Adil Umer from the Senior Pavement Coordinators, Consultants, Asset Management, the District Metchosin Pavement Management Plan. Welcome. I hope you can hear us, Kevin.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
That's great.
Yes.
Welcome to both of you. And Adil, can you hear us okay?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Okay. Okay, with that, go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Great. I'll just share it in Teams and just make sure you can see it when it comes up.
Bravo.
Can you all see that okay? Yep. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll just introduce myself quickly, then Adil, and then we'll go through what we'll be presenting today, which is the pavement management plan we've put together for you guys over the last, I guess it's the last 6 months or so that we've completed this project. So myself, I'm Kevin Worley. I'm a senior asset management consultant with WSP. I've been with the company about 17 years doing a mix of pavement management work and also a fair bit of work for BCMOTT on the P3s and various projects like that. Adil?
Yes, I'm a pavement engineer with WSP. I've been working in pavement design for different organizations in the past over 10 years. For agencies varying from provincial, federal, and municipal roadways. Also working with the ministry for their data quality assurance on roadway condition, among other projects.
Great, thanks, Adil. Okay, so the agenda for today. So we're just going to go through the background of the project quickly. This is the follow-on project from a study that we did for you. I think it was 2015, if I recall correctly, or maybe it was even before that, which was a preceding road condition survey and model. So then we'll talk about the road condition survey that we did as part of this project, some analysis and prioritization, a little bit of a model that we built, which produced a 10-year work program for you, and then some recommendations going forward. So first off, just a little bit of background. Okay, so it's 2016 actually when we last did it, the previous plan for you guys. And so just a summary of the road network as well. So it's about 90.5 kilometers of roads within Metchosin. And then so this study consisted of a road conditions survey, which was a little bit different from the previous 2016 plan, because at that time, I think your internal staff were actually maintaining some condition data on the roads. So that's where Adil actually came out and did the surveys this time around. And then, yeah, modeling analysis, and then the 10-year work program. So I'll let Adil talk a bit about the road condition survey now. You're muted, Adil.
So the road condition survey was completed around fall of 2025. Luckily, we got really good weather. We just a couple of days with light rain, generally dry conditions on the road, and we had 3-man crew for the team for the survey of the pavement. Our survey involved 3 steps. We planned through on how to do the inspection for the 200 sections, pretty so many sections for the network. We divided it into 4 quadrants, starting with the northeast, went clockwise with our team and finished the work in 5 days. Our assessment methodology was based on BCMOTI's pavement condition rating manual, which looked at identifying 3 types of pavement distresses: cracking, surface deformation, and surface defects. And they have their own subcategories of different distress types. We rated their extent and severity while we were on site. And also, in addition to the pavement surface condition data, we included the data by identifying the overall condition based on our own field observation and what are the treatment recommendations, such as maintenance, rehabilitation, or reconstruction, based on our field observation. In addition to that, we identified sections where there are curb and gutter. We measured the width for each section and also identified an estimated area which is exhibiting failures. We also took photos along the way and identified treatment recommendations. Next slide, Kevin. So these are some of the photos that we took to identify the location, the date and time when they were taken. Approximately every section of the 200 has its own photos, and along with that, an example photo for the failure areas. Next slide. This is a sample of our field assessment form. It identifies the severity and extent based on our observations, the overall condition, and all the other information that we discussed just earlier. So there's a lot of information. This is purely based on our pavement condition assessment. So, and then we converted that into pavement distress index, which is based on BCMOTI's model, and plotted the data on a map. Next slide. The results show generally the roads are in good condition with under 20% of the network in fair to poor condition. And I think Kevin included other metrics as well to consider the importance and other factors. So I'll let Kevin take care of that.
Yeah, and just on this too, like this is so the PDI Pavement Distress Index, which is used by BCMOTT. So how we've sliced it up, it's sort of 7 to 10 is good, 5 to 7 is fair, and so on and so forth. So you can divide it into thinner slices if you wanted to get a more, I guess, detailed look at the network in terms of how it's progressing. But generally, this gives you the overview that says, yeah, the network's in pretty good condition overall. There's some areas that need to be addressed, but compared to some of the other ones that I've seen in the past, like this is a pretty good result. So now I'll go into just what we did with the actual information that we got. So so what we've done for some other clients, and which we've now done for you, is we've just built a simple prioritization matrix. So we took some quantitative and qualitative factors, and this helps to prioritize the various road sections. So when it eventually goes into the 10-year work program, you can sort of filter on the areas that should receive a higher priority and get a higher score. And so that's where you can be looking more to invest in road renewal. So quantitative, we used traffic volume, although that was based on estimates based on road classes, and you have 6 road classes too, which I forgot to mention earlier. So because there wasn't actual traffic data within Metchosin. So we did that. Current condition as well, so that's PDI. So that was the main one. It was weighted at 60% since that is the empirical data that we have. And then some qualitative factors as well, which we added in. So environmental factors based on Adil's observations where we could. Heavy vehicles, bus routes. So we were able to get a map of all where the buses go within Metchosin. So we were able to apply that. And then criticality as well. So the qualitative ones can definitely be updated as desired as things change, I guess, as well. Customizable. So then this is the example of the first page anyways of the prioritization model. And so you can just see how each of the roads are within it. You've got some of the factors as well, like the class, the volume estimate, PDI, and then those 5 factors that I mentioned, which give it a score and a prioritization. And then from there, it goes into a 10-year work program. And so this was developed based on looking through some of the previous paving tenders that I had. We came out with a rough cost of about $50 a square meter in terms of what you're spending on resurfacing. We were given an annual budget estimate of about $800,000, which we hear sometimes it gets, you don't necessarily do work every year, but sometimes you'll combine the years and actually spend, I guess, 1.6 one year and then skip a year, then do the following year, something like that. And I guess my only comment on this program is it really, like this model in the program, it's really meant to be indicative of the roads that you should look at. And then once you actually can take year 1, go do sort of a project level review of it, and then you can actually decide which ones you actually want to do. Because the model it'll only get you maybe 80% of the way there, and then you need to add in all the local factors when you're making those final decisions. Okay, and then lastly, just some recommendations going forward. So reviewing the prioritization factors, as I said, so it's an Excel-based model, so it's easy to update and adjust as you desire. The second item is a failure repair strategy and maintenance program alignment. So that's really around the data that Adil collected, where there's isolated high distress areas within the network where you can then do targeted maintenance to get to those earlier before the roads deteriorate quicker. So it kind of helps with maintenance planning, really. Future planning as well. So that's something we put in going forward. So I think since it was 2016 the last time you did it, it was about 8 years, I guess, in between that. So for you guys, given the size of the network and how the condition is every 9 or 10 years for an actual pavement condition survey and a full update of the model is appropriate. And then you can always do a desktop kind of update as well, where you can sort of input the past road segments that you've rehabilitated and then kind of reshuffle it to see kind of what comes to the top again. And then our last item is just on road inventory, where we did collect some additional data this year, and we just kind of recommend that you take it, I guess, keep like a master road inventory sheet for it, so that because I think when we started this project, there was a lot of different sheets that we had to grab from to pull what we needed. So just an idea to kind of keep that in one place and kind of make a master list and then update it as you need to, and it's a good reference going forward. And with that, I think that's kind of a wrap. Any questions or comments?
Okay, Council, thank you for the presentation, both of you. Council, do we have any questions for our consultants? Councillor Gray.
Yeah, just thanks very much for the presentation and for the work. I'm happy to hear that we've got so many good roads. They sure seem good when you're driving on them. I'm curious, when we look at this, the plan, just to be sure I understand it. So when we look at the first, there's a table 4.2, I think, in the package, and it shows Metchosin Road at the top, year 1, and then Rocky Glen Road, blah blah place.
Yeah.
The idea is that year 1 we're going to go out. We're going to say that the models brought it up to us, and now we're going to go out and take a look at it to confirm. Or that's the way it reads to me. We're going to confirm and then decide on the treatment. Or is it somehow that this year is of such an age that, gosh, it's time to replace this portion of it?
I think it's more the first item that first approach that you said, where these roads come up on the list, but then they come up too because of the prioritization. Like Metchosin is a major road as well, so it gets a higher class, so it's considered higher volume, so it's prioritized higher. And so that's where you need, I guess, the operations staff to go and have a look, and they'll know the network better than we ever will, because we do have obviously the condition data now, so we have a sense of it, but we're not out there every day. So and that's where they can work off. This is sort of a decision support tool where it can kind of inform you on which roads should be prioritized, and then it's ultimately like a field validation exercise that needs to take place to determine if it is a valid candidate, and then what the appropriate treatment is as well going forward if you choose to rehabilitate it. Don't know if that answered your question or.
Yeah, that does. Thank you.
Okay.
And then the actual treatment, the plan doesn't speak to whether one's going to pave the road or crack seal.
No, it doesn't. No, it's yeah, that's more of a project level decision if it's more maintenance versus rehabilitation. And that's, yeah, it's usually down to how distressed it is too. Like you could maybe infer it from the PDI rating if it was, maybe Adil could speak to that more than I, but if it's probably above 6, you could probably look more at maintenance. And then below that is sort of where you'd be getting to that range where maintenance probably is, it'll be good if you're dealing with some safety issues and just want to kind of keep it together for a few more years before you can afford to do a full rehab. But it's, that's kind of, yeah, where it's the ops folks that kind of make those decisions.
That's right. It's a combination of different information pieces that we have. So pavement condition data may indicate that it's fair in condition, but it's coming up higher. For example, East Souk Road is coming up here. We are based on our field reconnaissance shows us fair to good condition. It's coming up higher because it is a collector road, and it might be better to address it sooner rather than later. So it's a little bit of a judgment exercise as well.
Yeah, ties to your levels of service. Like the higher volume roads, you want to keep in better condition than some of the lower volume roads where you can get away with it for a little bit longer anyways.
Okay, Councillor Shukin.
Thank you, Mayor Little, through you. Mr. Worley, Mr. Umer, thank you very much for your work in the presentation. And this is a really basic question, but I just want to get some clarification from you. So you'll have a road like Metchosin Road or Happy Valley Road, but in terms of pavement management, that particular road is broken up into sections? Is that correct?
Yes. If it's long enough, it'll be broken. Like Metchosin, Adil would probably answer because he actually was out there doing the surveys. But
yeah,
yeah.
I can add something here. The sectioning that was done previously is matching with the pavement history. So these are each have their own pavement history. They were done in one year. They were last treated in one particular year. So they can be merged based on their geographic location with other roads and combined and with one package, if you like. But we considered one section with one history and one uniform performance as one section.
Great. At any time, did you think that the sections, for the purposes of planning, should be melded or changed at all? And I ask that because again, it's sort of the component for planning and budgeting and whatever. So sorry, did you see that the way we've sectioned the roads is viable and good to go with still?
I think it comes down to how is the condition on the adjacent sections. You can choose to merge those sections if they exhibit similar condition, even though their history is slightly different. Really, I think dividing the section further down is not the best. It's better to consolidate the sections so that you have more larger sections that you can deliver every year, and in terms of efficiency and contract delivery. But yeah, looking at I think map is a good tool to visualize how the road is performing, and we can try to merge those sections if possible, based on the data that it shows.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, looking at the map, like it's kind of small to see it, I suppose, but yeah, like the bigger roads, like even that Metchosin section was only 180 meters. The rest of it at the very top, I can't really zoom in, but just below Royal Bay anyways, that yeah there. So it's so yeah, it's definitely, when you actually do the rehabilitation, if you can do longer stretches, then it's more economical. And so when, well, even like when you're looking at the prioritization, the 10-year program, if there's sections that you can combine to do continuously, that's usually a good approach to do it.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
Not a question so much, but I just want to commend these gentlemen for the work that they've done. We've seen a change in the use of our roads over the last few decades, so it's good to see that we've got an assessment here now that is more applicable to what we're seeing as a result of those some roads being deteriorated a little sooner than others, and the fact that most of our roads are in really good shape. But as Councillor Shukin has suggested or mentioned, it helps us to better able budget for the future. And then this information will give our staff a more modern look or more updated version of what we were dealing with in the past. It worked for us before, but the ways people travel and in reading through the report here, understanding heavy trucks, and I know a lot of our residents will say there's more and more dump trucks going through our community. We also identified there's garbage and recycle trucks, which breaks down a lot of the pavement on cul-de-sacs, especially as they turn, and that's where a lot of wear and tear is. So I appreciate the work that you've done. It'll be certainly helpful to all of us. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to comment? No, thank you. At the beginning of this term, we had asked staff what evidence, what data do we have going forward for a pavement management plan, and this is great to have an evidence-based approach to our decisions making regarding roads management and paving. So I thank you for that. Any other comments? If not, well, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation and your work.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It was great working with you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we'll sign off then. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, we'll move on to our next presentation. Delighted to have Shannon Carman here with the Village Square Society, a proposal for the Village Square at Metchosin School property. Welcome, Shannon. No, now it is. Great.
Now it's on? Now it's on. Thank you. So we're back. We were here about a month and a half ago presenting, and council asked us to just amend our proposal to reflect the change in the entryway. That is at least on hold right now. We'll see what happens in the future, but for now, we just want to be concentrating on the Village Square itself. So we were approved to, if we move forward, that we'll have Sherry Epp as our liaison, which is great. And yeah, if you can flip to the next slide, Tina, or do I have that power? We scroll. That's good. Yay. So you folks have seen this rendering before. This is by the incredible Ann Taylor, who has just decades of experience with landscape design. We also have fortunate with us Joanne Robertson, who has also an incredible amount of experience in design. She designed the gardens across the road. And we've also got Robert Mitchell, who has a civil engineering tech background and project management. So we've got like a really strong core team put together, along with a lot of other business members of the community and regular folks who are very keen to get started. So the idea with this rendering is that it's showing you lots of things, lots of possibilities. It is very unlikely we would do each and every one of these, but it's to get the ideas flowing, to give you a sense, right? So we're talking about seating, rain garden, native plants, spaces for accessible for people with mobility issues and seniors, as well as kids, and having a clear delineation with the parking lot so that kids can run around. And because we've got the preschool right there now, they're really missing, like they've got the other side that they're coming in and out of, which is great for safety. But in terms of like kind of lingering and having people get to chat with each other in a safe place, they don't have that on the property yet. So this would provide that. And yeah, the amended budget, we've taken out the entryway, so the amount that's going to council is just sort of projected admin time and costs for paper and people spending time on whenever they have to work with us. We wanted to make sure that was captured. But yeah, otherwise, we are asking for approval to move forward. That doesn't mean that you would just never hear from us again. Obviously, we'd be coming back for if there was any major things that were going to change. Sherry would be reporting back as liaison. But we do feel that we've got the ability to get started, and we just love the green light to get going.
Okay, thank you very much, Council. While Shannon is here, we are going to be talking about this later, item number 10, but let's, anybody have any questions? Now would be a time to ask Councilor Donaldson.
Thanks for coming back. I was trying to think today how many times you've been at the podium with this particular subject, and actually went on the website today to find out when we first were talking about this. It was before I was on Healthy Communities in 2017. So thanks for the endurance. One of the things that has always concerned me, and you've partly answered it, is the safety factor with having a play area so close to a very busy parking area, when we've got a field on the other side and a door that we could also embellish to be a lovely entrance with pergolas or archways and such. So that was one of the things that I would be concerned about. The other thing too is, and it's been loosely talked about just on maybe a tour that I've done, and I'm not sure if anyone else has considered it, is we have an outdated ramp on the exterior wall of the new side, but we don't have any at this sort of main entrance with the double doors going in. Is that something that you could build into this plan?
Absolutely, yeah,
Because
and find grants to support it too, for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and work with accessibility, like wherever that ends up. Would love to incorporate that, considering that Cirque is right there. I think that makes all the sense in the world. And as for the safety concerns, obviously, and you raised those before, and were most certainly taken into account. When it comes to, like, I know it doesn't look like much, and Joanne is working on some really cool renderings so we can see it in kind of 3D. But that sort of cross at the bottom would be some kind of archway, not dissimilar to what is in Morley's garden. So it would be really clear. So it's not just sort of a little gate or something. It would be tall, it would be big, it would be clear that it was the entrance. And of course, there's a few doors in there. But I do feel that if that was clear and there was a little bit of space in front of it, even just in brick or a different color, it kind of pushes it out so people are like, oh, this is the place where people are coming in and out. And it delineates that area more clearly. So it's like very, very obvious that this is where people are, this is where pedestrians are, this is where kids are.
Thank you. And so in the report that's later in our agenda, there's mention of the types of play apparatus, say, for lack of a better word. They'll be easily maintained because they wouldn't be like wood that would rot or get splinters from, or those sorts of things. So in looking at this drawing that Ms. Taylor had put together a while back for us, the shaded area that looks like a pathway, will that remain as what it is now, the asphalt, or will it be something softer and more pleasing?
So as far as I know, and I'm just going to look at Bob for this as I say it, we were going to use as much of that tarmac as possible without digging everything out, and cut it so that that becomes pathway, which is accessible, it's level with all the rest of the parking lot. And then as the lighter gray around it would be a gravel, that would be the right kind of gravel. Bob? Yeah, because I don't know what the kind of gravel.
Yeah, well, certainly all of the surfaces need to be mobility accessible. Whether that means using what's in place right now or putting something new down. don't quite know yet. We have to look at the what's there right now. I mean, it's not exactly great condition. So something to assess would be figuring out exactly where those pathways go and seeing whether it actually has to be, material has to be replaced on the ground, or whether there can be simple fixes. For instance, you can get very fine asphalt, which can fill in some of those holes and cracks. Yeah, unknown at this time, but certainly that's something that starts to happen once we move forward with planning.
So in the play areas, would that be like a sand or a bird's eye gravel?
Oh yes, in the play areas, I guess, let's say off pathway areas, probably a pea gravel type of material.
And we did talk about, because we have been talking about this, at least in, you know, in idea form, and pea gravel spreading, right? And getting onto the, getting onto the thing. So having good delineations that's containing the pea gravel, so it's not getting kicked or moved onto the pathway, so people aren't, you know, missing footing or whatever. That will have to be incorporated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Shukin.
Through you, Mayor Little. Thank you very much, Ms. Carman, for being here, and Bobby, thanks. You know, I signaled my support for the Village Square idea first when it came up, and I did so largely because it was going to be driven by volunteers and fundraising and minimal, you know, burden on the district. I still have some, I do have some caution though, and because this is new, I like the idea, and you know, subject to the, you know, the input I get from my council colleagues, I'm in favor of proceeding, but on a staged basis. So we get regular updates, maybe pilot some things, as opposed to trying to, and I know Bobby's like a construction pro, so you don't just proceed blindly, but as opposed to doing everything all at once. So I just throw that out to you, and I guess I ask if there's any,
Phasing.
yeah.
And you're talking about
And
phasing.
I am
Yeah.
seeing what, you know, what you put here on page 7 and page 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how to address this, and I realize that we have, you know, there are time constraints too. The big thing right now is that if we have our green light to move ahead, we can start picking up all of the threads that the people who have the resources who are interested in this and have voiced an interest over the last many years, right? So now it's a matter of saying, okay, going back to all these people who offered all these different materials and expertise, first of all, seeing whether they're still interested and actually giving something they can sink their teeth into, right, as it were, so that they can say, well, yes, I can come and do this, and then we take that, we say, okay, we can put that in the plans, we can do this, and then we go to Sherry and say, okay, this is one of our options, this is what we want to move forward with, and then council can see that and assess it. And I feel like that's going to be the way that most of this project is going to be done in the planning stages. So yeah, we're not going to be showing up tomorrow with crews of people and make exactly that, right? It's going to be a very organic process. And certainly a huge intent of this is to have the people of Metchosin with us. We're absolutely not interested in just having one contractor come in and throw the whole thing up in a few weeks or months and then see you later, right? Great, okay.
Okay, Councillor Gray.
Maybe I'll just follow that, Mayor Little, with the same, really the same question. It seems to me, and I appreciate, Shannon, you're talking about, you know, developing it slowly and organically, it says in the note. And, you know, I think that's fine, but the difficulty would be that whenever we stop, we'll do a little bit and then stop, it needs to be functional.
Yeah.
You know, not a messy place or whatever. So at the phase, what we have is a budget that doesn't, the budget's not really to phase it, it's a different thing. But and it'll be up to you folks, I mean, you know, fundraising and this and that, but perhaps a route is to fundraise sufficiently so you can do one phase or one step. Where you end up saying, okay, well that would be good. If we walked away now, we'd be fine. That way you can sort of move it along. Otherwise, slowing organically becomes problematic, probably. So you have to sort of work at that a little bit just to figure out how to plan it. It's not in the documents, but I was offering with Councillor Shoup in the question.
Looks like we both have things to say on that. You know, being a project manager, whenever we're working adjacent, you know, you have your client, but then there's all the other people that are using that area or adjacent that area. I quite often call them all my clients. I'm working on a road in Salt Spring right now, so I have about 200 clients plus everybody else who uses that road every day. So thousands of clients. So as we're constructing something, we have to do that in such a way that everybody understands what's happening. Everybody understands, knows what's coming next, and they're okay with it. Not just safety, but aesthetics, right? We don't want to go in there and tear a bunch of asphalt up and then leave it for 6 months, because I mean we have Mike and Michelle there that have the brewery. We're going to be right in their front yard, and so certainly our a huge part of the project will be maintaining a friendship with them, as it were, right? Making sure that
And the
we're
other
not
users.
affecting their business.
Yeah.
And then there's MACA and all the other users of the school. So with that said, that's where the project management really comes in, making sure everybody understands what's going to happen next, when it's going to happen, and forming agreements with them and expectations of how it will happen, so that if we aren't meeting any agreement or expectations, that's already on paper. So they can come to us and say, look, you guys said you were going to do this and this and this. That hasn't happened right now. What are you going to do to solve it, right?
And in terms of timeline and phasing, we were talking about this because Councillor Epp was wondering, you know, what is the timeline? And I said, yeah, what is the timeline? And we can't really know that until we start talking to people and start actually looking at the site in depth, right? And Councillor, oh gosh, Steve, what's your last name? Gray, sorry. Councillor, oh, there it is. Councillor Gray, yes, of course, like it has to be done in a way that it has a rhythm and makes sense and is not leaving anything undone. But that budget and the smidgens of that timeline, we can't refine any of that until we have a green light to actually go talk to people, right? But I think you can tell from Bobby's experience and the accumulated experience that we've got here, we're not going to leave it in any kind of shambles. And the idea is that we do it as necessary as possible for whatever money we have, whatever materials we have. That becomes a phase 1, and then a phase 2, and a phase 3. We just we won't be able to put that plan in front of you until we can sink our teeth into it.
So through the chair, thanks for the conversation. Just wanted to be clear on expectations and what we're thinking about in that way.
Absolutely.
Can I ask, in the note here, there's a rock wall entrance. Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah. So that's the line at the bottom of the walkway at the bottom of the page, and that could be rock, that could be wood. Materials can vary, but the idea is that it is quite prominent, and that can say welcome, that can say, Village Square. We can decide what that says.
Thank you, Councillor Epp.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the long wait to get the green light, and I hope we can do that for you tonight. Because you've said it's pretty. There's been no point in trying to go into any more detail than you already have as far as timelines and the way the project will transpire until you actually get the go-ahead. So, I'm assuming that, as you mentioned, that the staging part of it would be something that once you're going to do it, that you can come back and it can all be done in a way that works out as far as aesthetics and finances and volunteers. So I think it's awesome, as you mentioned in your write-up. I think to say that the area there is fairly lackluster is an understatement. It's pretty ugly. And you know, now that the school has moved ahead, you know, with the gym, it's really become quite a vibrant community center, which is what we wanted. And I think that to be able to go ahead with some beautification on the outside and something that makes it more inviting and more obvious that people going by can look and go, oh, there it is. You know, I know somebody that, well, there was a couple from town, I guess, that 2 or 3 of my daughter's coworkers that said they had come out looking for the brewery and they couldn't find it.
Oh my God.
And we recently also, while you were there, we had the meeting with the people about, you know, having a community day, and they immediately thought that where we were going to meet was the community hall. So, you know, it's, I think to be able to have something that's really visible and something that we can actually get started on as soon as possible would be great.
Yes.
Councillor Gray.
I wonder, just the Village Square Society, who's the executive and how many members are there in the society?
We haven't expanded it at all between myself as president and Taylor as vice president and secretary and Bob as treasurer.
So are you registered in BC at the moment?
Yep, we are.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no other questions. Thank you for your patience, and I admire you for your initiative as well. And you're in good hands with Councillor Epp as your liaison, and we'll be discussing this further later this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That ends our presentations. Next is public participation. Should you wish to speak at public participation, if you could mention your name, your street, and you'll have 4 minutes. Does anybody wish to speak this evening? Yeah, come up to the mic. Move it down just a wee.
Thank you. Katie Nelson, 4596 William Head Road. And first of all, I need to ask if my comments are not in regard to anything that the council is dealing with tonight. Can I still make comments?
Yes.
Thank you. My reason I'm here is because the local scout troop and I have been working under a big leaf maple over near to the area where this is going to be, and a couple of days ago they did a tremendous amount of work removing a sod that had just invasive grass and weeds in it so that we can make it into a native plant area. And then when I went to take the sod to the place Metchosin where one would take it, I found out that there isn't any place. Not only was there no place for me to take those weeds and sod, and it was a small truckload, but I also found out that the sod that we had taken from weeding out at Morley's Meadow, I had put in a bad place also because there was no place to take it. I had put it in with a pile that was just for chipping. So I ended up having to take the scout sod home to my place, all the weeds to my place, and now I'm going to have to go to the pile by Morley's Meadow and get all the sod out of that also. But now this is something that council was brought up to in regard to the fact that there's no place to take sod in Metchosin years ago, and I'm asking the council now what is being done about this. Even the public works people I was talking to said that this is a sad situation for them. Sometimes they have to remove soil and there's no place to take it to. So what can be done?
Okay, thank you, Katie. Anyone else wish to speak this evening?
Hi, I'm Joanne Parker Robertson. I live on Gilbert Drive, and you may know me from some of the concept images and visualization work I did for the old schoolhouse museum. So I'm now working with Shannon and the group that are volunteering to do some of the plans for the village square, town square. And so I just wanted to say you can expect that there will be similar presentations as I did for Judith Van Manen and the old schoolhouse, just because it's very hard for people to visualize things coming together when you just see what's there. That's been my job for 20 some years, helping visualize concepts. And so we'll be presenting those kinds of things, and then the information about what would be in-kind contributions, what we can expect that we might need funding for, and what people are willing to volunteer and bring to the project at no cost to the community. So I just wanted to introduce that is the similar kind of path that we will do in helping you to see what the village square can be.
Thank you, Joanne. Okay, seeing no one else wants to speak at the microphone, let's move along. We'll move to the adoption of the minutes. We have the special council meeting of April 3rd on page 11.
Move adoption.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Epp. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Just a moment here. And then we have for adoption, the report of the public hearing, April 7th, 2025.
Move adoption. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Donaldson, Shukin Donaldson. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And then we have the council meeting from April 7th.
Move adoption.
Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Shukin. Comments?
Oh, I just wanted to pass on a thanks to Ms. Hanson for the work in all of these pieces. We are a bit short-staffed now, and it was good to see them in a timely manner. So, yeah,
Great. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. And we don't have any minutes to receive. Moving on to the mayor's report. I don't have a report. Councillor Shukin, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to pass on a few compliments. We have a new alien that's been sighted in the district by the name of shining geranium. Councillor Gray had flagged this with a number of people, and there was a party that went out on the weekend organized by Kathy Atherton. Katie Nelson was part of that as well. And we took a big bite out of the shining geranium that had been identified. And I think there's an effort to go back and get some more of it as well. It appears very quickly, spreads very quickly, but it's wonderfully easy to pull. So if you need some therapy and you want to see some neat spots in Metchosin, be in touch with MISC. So yeah, thank you.
That's great. Okay, let's move along to reports for action. On page 25, we have a staff report, Next Generation 9/11 grant application for a CAD system purchase. They're wanting our approval to apply for this grant. We have a report from our fire chief, and she's here if anybody wishes to ask questions. Councillor Shukin.
Through you, Mayor Little. Chief, sorry, what is it that we have to upgrade in terms of our systems and devices? And
thank you, the chair. It's a computer-aided dispatch system is what we're hoping to get upgraded for, and that's what CAD stands for. It's on, isn't it? Not.
Yeah, not sweet.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a computer-aided dispatch system. That's what the CAD stands for. And currently we don't have one at all. And moving forward with the upgrade to the next gen 911 system that's coming down, we are going to need to move that direction eventually. So there's a grant available for us to do this right now that we can upgrade our systems.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the CAD system? Go ahead.
And Chief Dunlop, how often will they need to be upgraded after this is installed?
Great question. I don't know for sure. Much like our radios, probably every 10 to 15 years.
Anybody else wish to ask questions? If not, Councillor Epp, did you want to move the recommendation?
Sure, I'll move council approve the submission of a grant application to the NG 911 grant program for the purchase of computer-aided dispatch CAD systems in the amount of $100,000, and that staff be authorized to complete all necessary documentation to support the application.
Moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments? Not. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you. And thank you for the report. It'd be really great to get that $100,000 grant. It would be wonderful. Okay, moving along to the staff report, UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund. We also have a staff report from the fire chief, and there is a similar recommendation. This is also a grant application, this time to UBCM. Anybody have any questions? Fire chief, do you have any comments? Oh, pretty straightforward. Yeah. We've applied for similar grants in the past. Yeah, absolutely. Councillor Shukin.
I would move the recommendation.
Okay. This is that, do you want to read it out for everybody?
Sure, that council support by way of a resolution, a $3,000 grant application under the UBCM Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, public notification and evacuation route planning, and authorize the mayor and CAO to execute any agreements related to a successful grant application.
Okay. This is moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Gray. Comments?
And just appreciation to the fire chief for getting going on this. The notion of an evacuation routes, I think, is really important to our community, and particularly with the increased traffic of the oil tankers with diluted bitumen, which may call for evacuation at some point. But for all the other reasons, we might need to leave the community, which we'd rather not do. But so thanks to the fire chief.
Okay. Hopefully we would never have to use this. It's like an insurance policy, but that would be great. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And then we have a report on page 29. This is regarding the Peninsula and Area Agricultural Commission draft terms of reference revisions. Now, from Ms. Hanson, would you like to introduce this? Go ahead. Thank you.
So through the chair, the member municipalities of PAAC, Central Saanich, North Saanich, and Metchosin have just completed a governance review of the commission. The draft terms of reference are being presented this evening for council's endorsement. The new terms of reference provide the commission and the member municipalities more clarity around processes, including membership, appointments, meeting rules, and communications and reporting with council or the member councils. The review has also established shared responsibilities for meeting space and support to the commission. So everyone will be taking turns providing both meeting space and support, preparing agendas and minutes. And the draft terms of reference that are before you this evening have gone through a review by PAAC, and they've been approved. And so far, Central Saanich and North Saanich have approved the draft terms of reference. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Comments? Councillor Gray.
I just had a question through the chair to our deputy corporate officer. I'm wondering, I was looking at the previous minutes, and there was some description of how funds are managed. Who manages the funds with the new terms of reference? Is it the host district?
Yes, it will be the host district. So I believe in the fall of each year, PAAC will be submitting their budget. and then so that will be for the projects that they'll take on for the following year. And any costs that the host municipality incurs throughout the year will be equally divided between the 4 member municipalities.
So through the chair, that'd be a bit different from this year where we approved a budget without any project list.
Yes, correct. I believe their projects are all related to education and promoting agriculture.
Thanks. That's a good to know just how that works.
Okay. Anybody else wish to ask questions? It's good that we've got a new terms of reference. That was one of the questions that I had had PAAC had an opportunity for input and to review them. So it's great that they have approved those, and also that 2 other members of the our association have approved it. You had another question, Councillor Gray?
Do other municipalities have separate advisory select committees, or is it just Metchosin with agriculture? So we have the Peninsula and Area Agriculture Commission, and then we have the Agricultural Advisory Select Committee. Do other municipalities have the Agriculture Advisory Select Committees in addition? The reason is that the terms of reference overlap almost completely.
Councillor Donaldson, do you know that? Does Central Saanich and North Saanich have an agricultural committee?
I'm not aware of it at all.
Yeah, Ms. Hanson.
Through the chair, I believe North Saanich does.
And I think overall, the PAAC is concerned with regional agriculture, regional promotion of agriculture, whereas our select committee is mostly to do with agriculture within our district.
Yes, the new terms of reference, of course, say that they'll provide recommendations, it sounds like specific to member council, so specific to Metchosin as well.
For instance, we could have, had we thought about it, we could have passed along our agricultural plan to them for review and consultation. We failed to do that. That's unfortunate, but we've got to keep that on our radar.
One question I would have, I guess, for Metchosin is, when I'm looking at the membership, we will need to appoint a council member as a liaison, or as a representative. And then the other is, it's calling for 1 staff member to attend meetings. And I wonder if we have the staff capacity for that.
Deputy Corporate Officer Hanson, would you be able to take this question?
Through the chair, I believe the 4 member municipalities, it's the host municipalities staff member that are attending or would attend. The other staff members get an invite if they'd like to attend.
And they're non-voting members?
They are non-voting members, yes.
Okay.
The other point I was curious about was, it says members will not necessarily represent themselves as having any authority beyond that delegated by the council. But then when I went through the terms of reference, I didn't see that they had any authority over the granting advisory. So I wondered if that is something that we can ask them to take delegated things or powers.
Through the chair to Councillor Gray. What page was that on? Page
It's
1?
on in the agenda, page 1, just at the bottom of the page. I'm not fussed about it in the sense that I don't think we are delegating authority, but I just found it interesting comment.
On page 33, item number 5, authority.
oh yes, page 1 of the terms of reference and page 33 of the agenda package.
Through the chair, I can confirm that.
Thank you. I had a different question. The final bullet on the mandate is to secure an adequate water supply to farms at a competitive cost. And I just don't want to set ourselves up battling ourselves in the sense that the water supply, the pipe water anyway, is governed through the CRD or the Juan de Fuca Regional Commission or the Peninsula Commission. And it may be that a member would have a difficult time being on both committees, sorting out how to do that, because one's setting the price and one's decided that the water commissions are setting the price, but then this commission would be one to advocate for same issue.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments?
Seeing no one, maybe I'll jump in on this one. I was curious. We're in Metchosin with our advisory select committees. We're doing our best, and with our council committees, to be sure that the public know what we're discussing. And this commission says that they put up an agenda 24 hours in advance of a meeting. It might be nice if it was longer than that, as a minimum. But then it goes on to say that, you know, late items can actually get on the agenda by noon the day the day before. Anyway, I'm sure every corporate officer's looked at that and there's some comfort, but I just say it's a little bit different than what we do. And I know the issue of openness and transparency is important to this council, but as best we can, if you know, we can get things, or if the commission or our representative there can be sure that we do take every opportunity to inform the public before we're discussing items, that would be a good idea.
Okay. So could I have a member to move the options on page 31 of the agenda? Okay, I will. That council approve the Peninsula and Area Agricultural Commission draft terms of reference as presented. Moved by Mayor Little, seconded by Councillor Donaldson. Discussions? Go ahead.
Just say, I appreciate these new terms of reference, and I just wanted to make reference to the code of conduct. And, you know, we received a letter not too long ago from the PAAC, and it was kind of, maybe take a side swipe at the CRD. And I think it's important when the commission is now sitting with these new terms of reference that it use the utmost diplomacy in correspondence, because they are representing us and we are the CRD in effect. So to take care, it's not that we shouldn't be seeking better or improved work from ourselves and from the CRD, but it's important to maintain a diplomatic tone.
Anybody else wish to comment before I call the question? Go ahead, Councillor Donaldson.
Yeah, I just want to say I've only been to one of their meetings. I know my spouse was going to the PAAC meetings long before Ms. Tunnicliffe was, so there's some history in the community. However, I've learned a lot since the first time I went. I've missed the last couple of meetings because it conflicts with another board that I'm on. And with these new terms of reference, and speaking with Robin Tunnicliffe, who is the current chair, she identifies as well that there is a lot to learn, and I think they realize now that having a new terms of reference will certainly better guide them. But the part here where non-voting council member, and these are public meetings, so anybody can go, would help for, and having a staff member that will be rotating through will probably help them create more positive advocacy letters without too much crispness to them, say. So I think that those are it'll be an asset to have more eyes on and more involvement to help guide them and bring them forth into, this has all been modernized, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for them, but I think they'll feel better supported as well.
Okay. Yeah. All positive changes. Okay. Seeing nobody else wishes to speak, I'm going to call the question on that option. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, turning now to the reports for information. Earlier this evening, we talked about the, I'm sorry. We're going to move to the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Jeffrey Creek, for the 2025 property tax breakdown. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Through the chair, at our last meeting on April 7th, we presented the financial plan and the tax rate bylaw. And then the following week, we finally got our last numbers from the province for the school tax and the BC Transit, and what they're going to charge. So I just want to do a short presentation on what the average resident will end up seeing on their tax bill come the end of May. So this lovely pie chart that shows the breakdown of taxes for 2025. So we got $1,318 for District Metchosin, making up 32% of the tax bill. We got another 6% or $233 for the police levy, $16 for Ecom 911, 33% is going to the school, which is $1,360. That's the provincial school, not ours. CRD, they want $295. Hospital is at $139. BC Transit's at $384. West Shore Parks and Rec is at $199, and Library is $107, and then BC Assessment and the Municipal Finance Authority come in at $40.58. So, a lovely table based on all that shows the average value of a residential assessment in Metchosin was $1.1 million. Your total tax bill for 2025 is going to be $4,094.16, which is $190.01 more than 2024, which is a 4.87% increase overall. I guess the weighting there. So for under column 4, the change. So District Metchosin is up 2.43%. Police levy is up 2.68%. And the econ levy is brand new, so I said that was up 100%. The school, minor increase there, 1.24%. CRD went up by 5%. Hospital went down by 3%. And then transit went up by 34%, which is a $97 increase. West Shore went up by 4.3%. Library was 3.4%. And then BC assessment and MFA was 0.67%. So that ends up being a total increase from all the other taxing authorities of $136, whereas the district chosen was $53.86. I guess the big one kind of sticks out there is the BC Transit. That requisition has now gone up by 280% in the last 6 years. It's a bit shocking. When we combine that with the PILT that we also pay, it's estimated that 2025 we're going to end up remitting $1.2 million to BC Transit. And that is up from $390,000 back in 2018. And then, for those people that don't have a house that's worth exactly $1.1 million, in order to calculate your own taxes, the residential mill rate combined is 3.62227. So you take that, times that by your assessed value, then divide that by 1,000. That'll end up equaling your total taxes payable. If you qualify for a homeowner grant, we deduct $570 or $845 off that, and that is what needs to be paid by July 2nd to avoid a 5% penalty. You can claim your homeowner grant right now, and you can also defer taxes as of May 1st through the province. You can go online or give us a call. We'll give you a phone number. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Okay. Questions? Councillor Gray.
Through the chair. Mr. Creek, does it end up on your previous slide, if we add together the District of Metchosin Police Levy and Ecom 911, it's still sitting at, I think it was 3.71% increase?
That's on the average price. If you just take in the $1,600 non-residential properties that are single-family residents. If you include all of the residential properties, which includes the farms, ALR, vacant, etc., that's where we get the 1.3 or 1.13, and that ends up just being a 3.56.
3.56.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions to our CEO, CFO? No? Okay, thank you very much for the presentation and all your work this year.
Thank you.
Okay. Earlier this evening, we had a presentation on the Metchosin Pavement Management Plan. We've got it before us for considerations. This is a report for our information. I'll take a motion to that effect, but I just wanted to know if anybody else want any more discussion on the management plan? Any concerns? Councillor Gray.
Through the chair, just a question to their CFO. The paving plan used a figure of $800,000 annually, it seems to me, and I wondered, and that was if I understood properly, they got that number by looking back and seeing what we'd paid. I'm not sure if they used average, but and then how does that feel to you looking forward in the budget that we approved this year?
So thank you, through the chair. So based on that budget that we passed, so I put in the actual roads that we're going to be paving in year one, and then those were slightly adjusted through discussions with council and public works. But then going forward, I had put in an estimate of about $500,000, so we can kind of adjust what's going to be happening. As for funding itself, we amortize just over $1 million worth of roads every year. So if we put in $800,000 every year, we've got it well covered within our usual budget operation, and then even save a little bit more on top of that.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Anybody else wish to comment? If not, I'll take a motion to receive. Moved by Councillor Shukin, seconded by Councillor Epp. Comments? Call a question. All in favor? That's unanimous as well. Great. Thank you. Correspondence for action on page 69. We have the proposal for the Village Square. We had a presentation earlier this evening from Shannon Carman and Robert Mitchell regarding this. Let's have a discussion regarding this. They're looking, as Ms. Carman and Councillor Epp said, green light so that they can finally get going and talk to the different stakeholders in the community regarding how they're going to move forward so they can put in place some concrete plans. Councillor Gray.
I had a question through the chair to the CAO, just about his perspective on how we'd manage the project and the cost to the district. It seems to me that the costs to us are not cash, but rather staff. And is there any issues with that, or is he content with the numbers that he sees for the district?
CEO Payette, would you comment on the in-kind labor?
Thanks, through the chair. So, well, a couple things. Well, first of all, fantastic presentation, Village Square, fantastic. Everybody involved, fabulous. I believe I'll look at possibly having the society work with me on a lease agreement of some kind so that we everybody's covered for insurance, and my time is your time because I'm on salary, so use me as you will. I'll work with Councillor Epp, and we'll bring reports periodically with the group, and I'll have my team review for safety and insurance concerns as we move along. If there's a time involvement for union staff, we'll allocate it appropriately to their timesheets. I don't anticipate it'll upset the apple cart in any way. If there's significant time involved for myself, that's fine. And if there's any engineering costs, we'll put that in the report to council.
Thanks very much. There are no engineering costs associated with the district and the proposal. So that's good. So that's a neat idea. I think a license of occupation or something like that makes sense to me as well. It's how we work with everybody else, and that would keep clear who's doing what.
Okay, Councillor Epp.
Well, I appreciate that the CAO, has it under control and can keep monitoring the situation to the best interests of the district. I think it's really important to move forward. So I'm going to move that council approve the Village Square Society's proposal for a Village Square at the Metchosin School property.
This is moved by Councillor Epp, seconded by Councillor Shukin. More comments, Councillor Epp?
No, I think it's been covered.
Councillor Shukin? No. Councillor Donaldson?
Yeah, one of the things I'd like for us to consider is we have a proposal, but we don't have a plan. And we did discuss that. So if we could have, if this is now going to go forward, if we could have a plan based on phases according to a budget, then that will, I think that'll help everybody, including the society, as to the steps that we take. I think that would be more solid, and perhaps staff could work hand in hand with Council Liaison Epp and Ms. Carman, so that we don't have an interrupting of service to the businesses, and that we as council are involved in each step of the way with reports and such. So if we could have phased in plans presented to us with a budget, I think that would be advisable.
Okay. Councillor Epp. I'm thinking, well, go ahead, Councillor Epp, and then I'll let you know my comments on this.
Just what I think we did kind of cover that now that there is, if we do vote, that this is moving ahead, then that was the plan, that we will be coming back to us with the stages. And so yeah, I mean, I agree that that's something necessary, and I think that's would be in the plan. Great.
Okay. Okay, anybody else wish to speak? If not, I'll call the...
Just, I'm agreeable if we set up a license of occupation or something like that.
Yeah, as the CAO mentioned, I think that's a good idea. I did want to say that this isn't something new. You remember in 2018-19, there was a group of residents that were interested in restoring the meadow, and it became the Worley Meadow, Gary Oak, and they didn't ask for money, they asked for in-kind labor. They did get a little bit of money from the Metchosin Foundation, but it has worked out extremely well and that's what we want, people that are really engaged in the project and having the interests that they do. So I think this is a great way to start, and I wish them well. Okay, call the question. All in favor? Great, you got the green light. Okay, wonderful. Moving along, we don't have any correspondence for information, but we do have a bylaw. We've got the financial plan 2025 to 2029 bylaw 707 and the tax rate 2025 bylaw number 708. Councillor Donaldson, would you like to move the recommendations, please?
Yes, thank you. I move that council adopt financial plan 2025 to 2029 bylaw number 707.
And do I have a seconder for that? Seconded by Councillor Shukin. Comments? Call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Go ahead.
And that council adopt tax rate 2025 bylaw number 708.
Moved by Councillor Donaldson, seconded by Councillor Epp. Comments? Call the question. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And we have no other business. We have a little bit of time before we all go and look who's won the election at home. Does anybody have any questions for question period? Go ahead, Katie. Come to the microphone.
One more thing regarding the property around the the district here, a lot of effort was put in to have rocks go around the outside of the building so that there wouldn't be so much weeds. Unfortunately, I think there was some weed seed on that rock or something, because now you have quite a bit of weeds growing out there, and I just want to let you know that if you let them go to seed, we'll be right back to square one. So that needs immediate attention. And they should be pretty easy to pull because they're just growing in between the rocks, but it must be done soon.
Okay. Okay, I see the CAO nodding, so thank you, Katie. Anybody else wish to make comments? Okay, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Dawson, second by Councillor Schuken. All in favor? Thank you very much, everybody.